Welcome, welcome everyone. This is my Aries archetype, understanding the ego video.
Tell me how to think.
Hi there, it's Heather with Underwater Panther. Hope you enjoy. Push the like button and subscribe if you like my information, and thank you in advance. Now that we have talked about the ESTP and Aries keywords, the cardinal modality, the spring representation, the fire element, extroversion, right dominant brain use, the first house or I am, and the cognitive attitude of the ego psychologically. We also covered a brief history on temperament, as well as your Artisan temperament and what that means. Now we are covering what is the hero cognitive function within the ego. I want to do a quick disclaimer before I go any further. Know that there are many different subtypes of Aries, and they can be focused on certain aspects, for example, shadow-based. Just know that this isn't an exact science, and most everything falls on a spectrum. There are really so many different factors that contribute to our psychological makeup, environment, genetics, traumas, just all kinds of things. So do take that into consideration. What is the hero cognitive function? So the hero is our primary ego function and is most likely not projected onto others. There are 8 cognitive functions or attitudes of all hero functions. There are perception functions, which are the sensation and the intuition, and then decision-making functions, which are the feeling and thinking. The cognitive attitude of the hero function within the ego is bravery, conviction, courage, determination, helpful, honesty, inspirational, moral integrity, protective, self-sacrifice, selflessness, strength, competent, and confident. If you notice that you or someone else has shifted into a leading the charge mode, as if carrying out a dramatic banner ahead of the troops with complete confidence in the righteousness of the action or position, and serious, therefore, that others will be compelled to follow, you've probably seen the energy signature of the hero. And that was by Mark Hunzer, Depth Typology. Aries hero function is extroverted sensing, or SE hero. An adaptive SE hero is audacious and energetic. Unconscious SE is spontaneous, and an unhealthy SE hero is careless and impetus. The hero function development roughly begins around age 1 and is focused upon until roughly age 12. The hero function doesn't start to develop until after the id, infancy stage, when we only know what we want and our basic needs. As we interact more in the world, do we develop the understanding that others have needs and desires and that we cannot fully be selfish. It is the ego's job, all 4 functions, to meet the needs of the id while taking into account the reality of the situation. The hero isn't fully formed until adolescence, or roughly ages 6 to 12. While it is relatively easy to tell whether a young child is introverted or extroverted, it is harder to tell exactly which function is dominant because their behaviors are often experimental. To make matters worse, parental influence can sometimes be too overbearing in reinforcing or punishing certain behaviors, which produces behavioral patterns that are not natural to the child's type, as children tend to be invested in obtaining parental approval. Once a child develops the capacity for conceptual thinking around the ages of 6 to 8, their cognitive behavioral patterns gradually become more consistent, and they possess enough language ability to verbalize their intentions. So this is the period when the dominant function becomes more obvious to observers. As the dominant or hero function grows in prominence, you construct a self-image around it. You will feel an increase in self-esteem when you are able to use this function with good results. You will feel a decrease in self-esteem when you are unable to use the function with good results. If the environment isn't conducive to dominant or hero function development due to parental or peer blocking, a child is likely to develop self-esteem issues. Therefore, it's important for parents to be supportive of dominant function growth. For parenting SE hero DOMs, Provide opportunities for playful and adventurous learning. Aries or ESTPs are extra active and need more stimulation than most. Don't use harsh punishment. Teach adaptive behaviors by example. Harsh punishment will only feed into SE rage. SE rage looks like physically destroying things when upset. The ego is the conscious structure and contents of your mind. It includes your thoughts, feelings, and memories. It grants you a sense of continuity and consistency of personal identity. Consciousness itself is order, and we are conscious because of the ego. Our ego creates order and is always challenging the chaos. We don't need to destroy the ego. We need to understand, reorganize, and integrate it. The hero is linked to the inferior function on a cognitive axis. The hero feels obligated. What happens to the hero happens to the inferior function. Eventually, because we are so strong and dominant in our hero, we tend to repress our inferior function. This becomes an issue later on down the road that will need to be addressed. This can be difficult due to the hero having inherent pride. SE hero flaw, wild. TI parent advisor, carefully analyzes how you affect others. TI suppression, unintended problems. You will begin to understand the dynamics between the cognitive functions as we go on. This concludes the episode on what is the hero cognitive function. Next, we will be going into the right home ego actions explained, SE hero, and Mars influence within an Aries or ESTP. We will dive deep into what extroverted sensing is and how Mars influences an Aries. Mars in extroverted sensing is an Aries or ESTP's top primary cognitive function, which is your hero. Also, if you liked my video, please feel free to subscribe and like the video. Be on the lookout for new content. If you would like an astro-psychological interpretation of your natal chart, the links are below. They will send you to my landing page, and there you will see an introduction video, as well as more information. See you on the other side.